Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to Deer Corner. We're going to get some white oak split up here. Went ahead and ran some pieces through to make sure this splitter's back up and operational. It took a road trip. You can look at another video on that one, but finally got it back up and running. I'm splitting about 2 cords of white oak, and for some of you never split any white oak's real stringy. Tough wood to split. Good wood to burn. Good burning wood. I'm going to pile it up on pallets and load them on the trailer, take them up to the cabin for deer season, wintertime. But I've been watching a whole lot of YouTubes, a whole lot of videos. And they're talking about deer habitat, getting their food plots put in. And yeah, that's fine. I don't do food plots no more. I don't need to. But with deer habitat, deer management is a big key player in deer habitat. And it has to do with your doe buck population. And a lot of people, I do know several hunters that won't shoot a doe. They just won't shoot a doe. And for reasons I have no idea, but they won't shoot a doe. But if you take this in a scenario, and you're hunting 20 acres, and you got 2 home range does on that 20 acres, you got 2 does that stay there. You see them morning and night. You go out and walk the 20 acres, you jump them, they get up. And them 2 does get bred. And let's just say one has twins, one has a single. So the next year, you're going to have 5 deer on that 20 acres. So you're not going to shoot a doe. Okay? The following year, now the 3 deer, usually 2 will be does, 1 will turn out to be a buck. But they're about a year old. They won't get bred till about a year and a half, 2 years old. But them 2 does get bred again. Let's say they have the same thing. They have, one has the twins, one has a single. So right away, in 3 years, you got 8 deer on that property. Because a lot of people won't shoot a small buck. So you're running with 8 deer that's going to work that property until the yearlings leave and the new yearlings coming on. So the following season comes in, you're 3 and 4 years down the line. The 2 does get bred along with the 2 2-year-olds. And again, usually the first breeding brings 1 deer. So that year, you're going to have 5 deer, extra deer. So that brings it up to 13 deer in 4 or 5 years. You start overpopulating if you don't shoot a doe. Now I know what people are thinking right now, well, coyotes are going to get 1 or 2. Yeah, that's correct. A car's going to hit 1 or 2, that's correct. So let's drop it down to 9 deer on that property until the bucks get mature enough to move on. So let's just say you got 9 deer. You started out with 2. So your deer habitat needs to feed 9 deer in order for you to maintain, to have deer. Now that's not talking the bucks and that are coming in on that property either, that are feeding. So that's one scenario to look at. All right, the other scenario, and a lot of hunters have came across this, even seasoned hunters. They set up on a rub line or setting up on a scrape. They got their cameras out, but they're not getting any deer. They're not getting any bucks. Or they're getting a little buck or a young buck. Now, if your doe buck population's off, that when your rut comes in, when your first doe comes in estrus, the buck you're hunting will go after her. He will leave the line. But grant you, he's not the only buck that's going to be following that deer. Usually 2, maybe 3 bucks following that one doe. But one buck will leave the line. The buck you're wanting to hunt is offline. He's not on his scrape line. He don't care about his rubs. He don't care. He's on that doe. Now a doe, if she don't get bred, she comes back in estrus 25 to 30 days later. So if your doe buck population's off, you have too many doe. That one doe will get bred and come out. But right away, see, all does don't come in estrus and heat at the same time. Another doe out of them 8 does can come in. He don't have to go to the rub line or to a scrape. Does travel in herds, little herds. And he gets in the right herd. One doe comes in, she goes out, gets bred. Right away, another doe comes in. Or 2 does come in. He breeds one doe, the other doe goes out, but she'll come back in 25, 30 days. Then another younger doe comes in. He won't have to leave them. He won't have to go back to his rub line or his scrapes. He won't have to. And a lot of hunters can't figure that out, even mature hunters that have been hunting for a while. That once that buck's on them, he will not go back to the line. So your buck population and doe population is critical to your deer habitat. And some say 2 to 1. I believe it's 3 to 1. When a doe comes in, gets bred, and goes out, and one comes in, and 30 days later, you give yourself a couple, 2-3 weeks where that buck, he'll go back to the line. He'll go back to the rubs, and he'll go back to the scrapes. He'll run that line again. And that's where you got to give yourself the proper doe buck population so that buck returns to that line. It isn't you spooked them off. It isn't your scent. It isn't you done anything wrong. It's just that buck does not have to go back to his line. So, yeah, deer habitat, you got to have the food out there. And one bad thing about it, last winter when it got cold and the food got down, got low, and if your population's too much, your yearlings will starve and freeze to death. Not enough food to go around. And that's also a critical point of too many does. So, I'm getting things here set up for tomorrow morning. Well, it's 90 degrees right now. It's supposed to be around 75 in the morning. I'm going to go ahead and get splitting wood, putting it on a pallet, put the pallet on the trailer, take it up to the cabin. I'll be ready for deer season then. I'm done. I'm done with everything. Going to take a vacation and get ready to hit the woods. And if you're in the woods, be safe. Rather be safe than sorry. And go ahead, leave me a comment. Subscribe. I'll get back with you. And you all have a good evening.